On today's show, I take a spin in a Tesla Model 3 with Navigate on Autopilot, VW will help you charge your car, and the ACT goes 100% renewable. G'day, my name's Chris and this is your show about everything happening in Australia and, well, sometimes around the world in the space of renewable technologies like EVs, solar, wind, batteries, and well more. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Consider subscribing. And to my awesome patrons, thank you so much for your support. And a big shout out to my producer level patrons, and that is Angelo, Ashley Hill, Ray Johnson, and Tesla on the Gong. Now, this episode is sponsored by Tesla Taxi, where you can drive a Tesla Model 3, S or X in South Australia, from February 15 onwards, as well as Victoria, the ACT, New South Wales, Queensland for 24 hours or more. Use referral code YTV38 to save some money on your next rental, or if you live in Victoria, mention Chris V in your notes and you'll get like a 10% off any bookings of 4 days or longer for January 2020. Wow, that's a good saving, eh? Now, by the way, just like how this show is powered by renewable energy, Tesla Taxi they offset their Teslas as though they were holding Captivas. Seriously. So for every kilometer that you do in a Tesla, which is normally powered by renewable energy, right? They actually buy 1 kilometer of credits from Green Fleet. How awesome is that? With thanks to Joshua Portloc for bringing this to my attention, this week I learned that in Australia we have some awesome technology developments and more people who are developing it in the space of electric transport. And I present to you the Wave Flyer by Electronautic. Located in Perth, Western Australia, this watercraft is an environmentally friendly hydrofoil that is propelled by twin hydrofoil electric propulsion system and stabilized for hydrodynamic flight. Because the craft incorporates like a hydrofoil, which works when the craft actually gains a certain amount of speed, the hydrofoil lifts the Wavefly's hull out of the water, decreasing its drag and, allows for greater speeds. Pretty cool, huh? Do I want one? Yeah. Will the missus let me have one? No. As yet, there are no firm production dates, but, hopefully soon. Next up is something that I touched on last year around a battery charging system for aeroplanes. And it actually turns out to be bigger than I first reported. And that is that Australia became the first country in the world to certify an electric light sport aircraft, which not only means much cheaper running costs, but a plane that is substantially more affordable to owners and students. Capable of flight of up to 60 minutes, it can fly at 200 kilometers an hour, and you are substantially flying, faster, yet using a lot less energy than an automotive equivalent, in other words, like a normal internal combustion engine in the front of a plane, wherever the propellers are. You get the idea. So, being electric, it's obviously very quiet and, has zero emissions. Now, when I actually brought you the story of the charger battery thing last year, what I didn't tell you was that I approached Stefan Jury. He's like a fellow Australian YouTuber who does travel. He's also a pilot and he's a bit of a tech entrepreneur himself. And I approached him to do a collab. And at the time, there wasn't really a story for us to do in the space of electric planes in Australia. But Joshua has suggested that potentially, very soon maybe, we might be able to do a story about this and watch this space. Check this out. The government of Turkey has just unveiled its first fully electric vehicle in a $3.7 billion venture, where they're going to bet heavily on electric cars. Unveiled this week, they proudly showed off a sedan and this SUV, which kind of looks like the Audi Q7 to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Starting in 2022, they will first be outputting to European markets, and these cars, followed by 5 in total, they hope to achieve production of about 175,000 electric cars per year. And I think, they can do it. You see, Turkey is already like a bigger exporter to Europe of cars that they make, and they ship cars already for, they manufacture some cars for like Chrysler, Ford, Toyota, and Kia. And they're going to be building upon that expertise and commit more than $200 million in research and development to ensure that, their car is going to be like an industry leader. whilst at present there is no word on specs and whether or not these cars will come to Australia. Thankfully, they seem to fully understand what is required to make these cars, from like building factories, training people, providing technical expertise, plus installing charging infrastructure. Okay, a few days ago, the ACT became one of the first territories in Australia to be 100% powered by 100% renewable energy. The ACT government pioneered an innovative reverse auction process in Australia to ensure that residents get the best value from their renewable energy suppliers. How? Well, they held 4 rounds of reverse auctions, which are kind of like auctions in which the sellers, in this case like renewable energy suppliers, they bid for prices at which they're willing to sell their electricity to the market. This occurred from 2012 to 2016, and in turn they signed up to 640 megawatts of renewable power to ensure that 100% of the ACT power comes from renewable sources. Now, isn't it amazing how one state can do this, and well, there are many others who are also getting on board. But surprisingly, this last week I learned that the UK, that country up in the northern hemisphere that is more known for its long white clouds, more than the sun, has for the first time since the Industrial Revolution generated more renewable power than from fossil fuel sources. In figures obtained from the UK National Grid, they generated 48.5% of the country's power in 2019. That's from renewable sources, with 43% from fossil fuels and 8.5% from biomass. Now, let me pause here for 1 second, because from a story I did last year, I discovered that the UK counts nuclear power as a renewable energy source, which, in my book, is totally incorrect. Why? Well, I know that there are some viewers out there who support nuclear. And hey, if you've already got a nuclear power plant up and running, use it and then get rid of it as fast as you can. To me, renewable energy is something that is produced from sources that do not deplete, or rather, that can be replenished. Okay? And that's going to occur within a human's lifetime. Fuel for nuclear plants is uranium. It's mined, it's depleted, and then it's buried to become someone else's problem for the next several thousand years. But I digress. The achievement of 48.5%, well, maybe 28.5% if I subtracted 20% provided by nuclear, is still better than what we're actually doing here in Australia at the present moment. Okay, time to get into some mail. And well, before I get into the actual comments from you guys, and really do appreciate them by the way, I'd like to do a quick update on the fires that are happening in Australia at present. Not because I'm a news channel, oh no, please go to the ABC or elsewhere to get full coverage. Rather, today being Sunday the 5th of January 2020, conditions in Australia have improved temporarily, with some light rainfall expected in Victoria today and in tomorrow in New South Wales. But preceding that was some strong gusty winds with temperatures above 40 degrees and widespread drought conditions, some more than 200 fires burning so powerfully that they're actually forming their own weather systems, even causing lightning strikes and sparking new blazes. More than 6 million hectares or 60,000 kilometers of bush, forest and parks have been burnt. Thousands have been evacuated from their homes. 1,300 homes have been destroyed, and sadly the death toll has risen to 23, with 28 people still missing. The world is now responding with calls to help coming from the famous news outlets, international media, and more. Plus, you guys, you're also responding, and you're asking me how you can help. And look, here's how. I've pasted the links in every state and territory fire service down below, and they rely upon donations and your kind generosity to make a difference to those either fighting directly in the fires or for those who are affected by them. So the Front Up for Fires campaign has now reached its 50% goal, and a meetup is planned for the 25th of January 2020, where you can help by donating toys, clothes, non-perishable food items, hampers, toiletries, and other products that families need in this time of need. So, thanks to everyone for putting in and generously donating so far. It really is appreciated. let's get into some of your comments. And the first one is from Future Systems 738, who wrote after I published a video on the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus range and efficiency test. When I first did the update, very little of the voice commands were working for me. 5 days later, nearly everything I can think of works, so it's obviously learning as we go. Loving my Model 3. This echoes a few people's comments, and this user noted that maybe perhaps voice command is actually a server issue on Tesla's end. And well, Michael Fink suggested that, well, hey look, thanks for the drive. He's one of the guys who we did the drive with on the day. And he said, since the 2019.40.50.7 update, it seems to actually be working a lot better. So that's good to know. Ashley Hill, he's the guy who I've been doing a lot of videos with lately. He wanted to stress to everyone, the loosening of the struts after install is actually very important. That's stressed by Evernex, and he noticed that when the bonnet was it was flexing when he was pulling it from the tip, which is why you saw his hand on either edge of his bonnet. So yeah, do make sure you do that if you're following our video for a bit of a how-to. Alright, so that will do it for today's mail segment, and yeah, look, I do respond to most comments, and yeah, if you want to hear from me and have your name up on screen, do put it down below, and yeah, watch this space. Welcome to the new decade, and well, in this segment, I'm going to forecast what's going to happen in Australia in the space of electric cars, because well, to date, not a lot of electric cars have come to Australia because reasons. So today I wanted to talk about what EVs are coming to Australia in 2020, what might be coming, and well, what definitely won't be coming. First up will be the Mercedes-Benz EQC. This premium electric SUV has an 80 kilowatt hour battery and 353 kilometers of range and should arrive around March 2020. I should note that it's interesting that Mercedes has enabled online purchasing directly from them, as like in Australia, they actually support a dealership network. And normally you'd have to go to the store, you know, like to the shop, what do you want to call that sort of thing, and buy directly from a guy called Bob. Now, so that Bob doesn't get upset because, well, he's paying a lot of commission back to Mercedes-Benz for having to, you know, resell their cars. This new model, what they're actually doing is that if I was to buy it, and well, I live in Taylors Lakes, what happens is the commission from my sale actually goes to Bob, who works at the Sunshine dealership. That's the one that's closest to me. Fascinating, right? So I wonder if this is how they'll continue as we move into a more active and more ever-present online world in the future. Coming mid-2020 will be the Mini Cooper SE. Personally, I'm very excited about this, not because of the mediocre range of 270 kilometers, but the fact that it's most likely going to be sub $70,000 and be an option that, well, die-hard Cooper drivers love. They love their coupes. So this will be great to see them. And at around the same time, we'll actually see the Porsche Taycan. Now, I've covered that vehicle quite a lot on this channel, so if you want to know more information, please follow the link up here. In autumn, I expect to see the Volvo XC40 with its 400 kilometers of driving range and a 78 kilowatt hour battery pack. Prices expect to be around, well, close to $100,000 and will no doubt be dubbed the safest car in the world. At the same time, we should also see the very affordable MG ZS EV. This will be $50,000 and will be a compelling option for those who are wanting to get into the EVs because it's got an impressive range, like 262 kilometers, which is about 60 more than the current Leaf 2, which costs like $54,000. Another game changer, which will hopefully have a price effect on EVs in Australia, is a new player called EV Automotive, with their Glory EV. This is going to be priced in the mid-60,000s and has an impressive 400 kilometers of range, and is priced basically about $10,000 less than what the current Model 3 is, and about $5,000 or so less than the Kona EV. Now, I also hope, but not confirmed, is that we'll see the longer range Ioniq as well as the Nissan Leaf 2. And based upon comments by Volvo Australia's director Nick Connor, we might see the Polestar 2, that's like the the brand of Volvo, I think I'm right, Volvo, We should see the Polestar 2 arriving on our shores with a 78 kilowatt hour battery pack and 500 kilometers of real world range, and will be around about the $100,000 mark. Alright, so obviously, so far, generally speaking, we're getting a lot of upper end cars to the market, and that will be great and all because we've got to start somewhere, right? But with the lack of incentives and no real political will, I don't think we'll see a lot of other cars in Australia, which means the Kia e-Niro as well as the Tesla Model Y will not be coming to Australia in 2020. So with the Tesla Model Y, that's going to be coming out mid this year for America. But look, applying the same time frame which we saw with the Model 3, it took roughly 2 years to get to Australia from its first production to actual delivery down under. Now, what that means to you and me though is that with now the Chinese Gigafactory online and Tesla increasing year on year its volume output, I actually think we might see it here probably mid next year in 2021 with either a 12 to 18 month delay, which is considerably a lot better than it currently is, and well, that's a good thing. Calling all you climate champions out there, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, or as I know them, Will and Kathy, hey guys, would like to see you around. Anywho, they just revealed the most prestigious environmental prize in history, called the Earthshot Prize, which is a direct reference to Moonshot Prize from the 60s, where the space race achieved its goals of getting man on the moon within a decade. The Earthshot will award prizes to individuals, teams, activists, leaders, governments, banks, businesses, cities, and even countries who do outstanding work to solve our environmental challenges and help repair and clean up our Earth. Whilst the exact prize of the award and details are a little bit light on, I think that this will motivate and inspire a new generation to help get our world back on track. And well, details of what the challenges, awards and prizes will be progressively rolled out, starting at the COP26 Climate Change Conference in the UK soon. This will all culminate in an awards ceremony that will take place in different cities across the world from 2021 through to 2030. Now, I wonder who the first recipient will be. Electric cars are awesome, right? But you know what bothers me? Having to charge them. Oh my gosh, those 10 seconds of plugging it in and the 10 seconds of unplugging it. It's just so 2019. So I'm very happy to announce that Volkswagen has unveiled a robot that can autonomously charge your EV without the need for any human interaction. Designed for communal car parks where residents might not have ready access to a power supply at every single parking bay, this two-part robot system can charge multiple vehicles. What happens is they transport a battery pack to your car using an app to summon it. The 25 kilowatt hour battery pack capable of 50 kilowatts feeding rate is tugged by the robot to your car, and the battery is left there for the charging session. In a video released by VW, it shows how the robot can navigate to your car, plug itself in, and when it's done charging, unplug itself as well. Because we all know how dirty that is, don't we? Now, whilst this is just a concept and something that reminds me of what Tesla did 4 years ago, do we really need this? Comment down below, I'd like to hear from you. A few days ago, I was fortunate enough to get a lift in a Model 3 that had Navigate on Autopilot. And well, here's some of that video and my impressions of it. Cool.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense when some of its lane changes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes a lot of sense. It does a really good job of ducking behind cars.
Yeah.
Getting to an exit.
Oh, yeah. So do you find it appropriate with its lane changes?
Sometimes, so this is a good one. It's appropriate because we want to get off here.
Yeah.
Might even do double lane change. Oh yes it will. 200 metres, make up your mind. You missed it. Nah. Doesn't realise it hasn't missed it yet. Nah, this one's a fail. Doing it, yeah. And that causes me a bit of an issue on the Westgate Bridge.
Wow.
Because that's
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? But you can actually change lanes.
It does, yeah, I know, but it doesn't like it. It won't let me change lanes. So on the right,
Yeah.
that's showing that there's a different speed in that lane.
Okay.
So the car's wearing the speed we're going,
Yeah.
the speed they're going.
Okay, that's good. I didn't notice that animation on the other car.
Yeah, that's a feature of that second last update.
Okay. And the lines the Americans are getting, the road markings rather, that doesn't seem to come to Australia yet.
This is another one lane with no real reason for this. I'm not sure why you want to be in this lane.
Yeah.
But now it wants to go back.
It's just showing off. Yeah, that's weird.
And why we go back and see how slow this car really is. I'm driving out. Giving you enough warning. Yes. Go around.
What? It's like you said, it's doing a lot of lane changes that I want to do.
Yeah, I know.
Calm
I
down.
don't know if I've got on, maybe I've got on Mad Max on it. Well, there's no cars around, just, you know, zero around.
Alright, so what did you think about navigating Autopilot? Definitely firmly still in that beta sort of phase, and yeah, they'll iron out those wrinkles, no doubt, but it's a little first impression, I think, of where Tesla's going here, and yeah, can't wait to see it develop and hopefully one day move on to, you know, basically go from home to work and back without you even touching the wheel or the pedals. That'd be pretty impressive. Comment down below, what do you think? Do you think that navigating on Autopilot is just, I don't know, a glorified autopilot, or is this the next step? I'd like to hear from you. And hey, whilst you're there, consider subscribing. It does really support the channel. Join me on Patreon, or if you do nothing, be good and be green.